Awesome. So today I'm here with Aaron Martinez. Aaron is at Abundant Church and he is the digital content director. So a lot on his plate. Excited you can chat today, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it so much. Super excited that we've partnered with Playlister. Um, it's been a few years in the running for us, and we're super excited not just for what's coming for Playlister, but also what Playlister has done for us within our church.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited too, Aaron. And I'm curious, can you give us some info like what called you into ministry and how did you find your role at Abundant Church?
Sure. So for me, my calling was very dynamic. I am a pastor's kid. My dad is the East Campus pastor, which is
Hmm.
our largest campus here within El Paso. So long story short, Abundant Church is a multi-site church within Texas. And for me, I kind of born into it. Um, and so one thing led to another, and as I grew within the church, our leadership team looked at me, and I finally was offered a position, a full-time position here within the church, and so I kind of worked my way up, and here we are now.
Absolutely. Well, that is great to hear. And, I'm curious, we were just talking earlier about the growth of London has experienced, seeing that from just the years that you were in the church when you were younger to today, like what does that growth look like? Like how did Abundant Church start out and how did it kind of grow to where you are at today?
Sure. So one of our, I guess for lack of a better word, is our one of our taglines is "Abundant is a church for all." And we have very dynamic teachings here at our church. We try to incorporate um, not just social media, but we do a live production take on all of our services, and so we try to be as technology friendly as possible. We try to meet people where they are. We A lot of times the church has come into this zone where people have to come to us, but in reality, for us as a church, is we're a community with a purpose. We're set apart for a reason, and so because we are a church for all, and because of the initiatives that we drive here, which obviously include our outreach, but also like our worship albums, all of that stuff is geared towards helping people find God and discover their purpose.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah, so I would just say that that's probably what I would attribute our growth to. Obviously, God has a huge part to play in that. Without God, we would not be where we are today. And our leadership team is an incredible team. I mean, our senior pastor, Pastor Charles, he's been in ministry for 47 years, and he's been at it a while. But through all of the tests and trials that have come, um, you know, Pastor Charles has stayed true to the faith, and he's one of the generals in the faith now. And so, I would attribute our growth to God, but also, to our leadership team and really the all of the different facets that we have within our church, to help people to discover their purpose and to get involved.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah, more than answers it, and yeah, totally great to see that. And when we look at getting people involved, meeting people where they are, having them, connect so they can fulfill God's plan for them, and they can grow in their relationship with Him. What are some things you found work really well to facilitate engaging experiences with people, whether they're people that have been going to Abundant for a while, or maybe they're new to Abundant, maybe they're church shopping. Like, how do you create those great experiences for visitors and people coming to your church?
Sure, that's a great question. Um, I think it's about everything comes. The Bible says that everything good comes from wise planning, and so
Mm.
our leadership team has deeply invested in our staff to ensure that we're touching people where they are. Now, whether that means that our church member doesn't have a phone, whether that person is watching us from online as a part of our online church, whether they're, um, you know, a part of the EFAM, whatever it is, we have team that are dedicated to ensuring that we're meeting people where they are.
Mhm.
You know, a part of it is anytime that we get a prayer request, are people going to be just submitting that, or are we actually going to call them and pray with them? It's
Mhm.
not just about the systems that are in place. It's about what obviously the systems help us, but we have put such a huge value on loving God and loving people. And I would say that that's probably where not just I would attribute our growth, but in meeting people where they are, it's that because God has loved us, we get to be a blessing. It comes from Genesis chapter 3 that we are blessed to be a blessing. And so I would say that that probably has a huge part to play for us within our church. Um, and so yeah, I just attribute it back to we're meeting people where they are.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, could not agree more there. And yeah, like that quote from Genesis, we are blessed to be a blessing. We don't think about that enough personally, at least I don't. So yeah, something to always keep top of mind there. And as you look ahead, what are some of your top goals as a church and just ministry goals that you and the rest of the Abundant team have on your radar?
That's a great question. So our leadership team just met actually this week,
Oh,
and we were talking a little bit about where we see ourselves, not just in the next year, but also in the next 5 years. And part of that looks like, I mean, without like divulging all of our secrets, right? But I would say that one of the initiatives that we're really driving is a huge part of it is is building off of the foundation that we're a community with a purpose and that we're blessed to be a blessing. Now, what that looks like might be different in different ways. So, for example, one thing that we do here at our church is every year during Christmas time, we do a Christmas giveaway. Now, that Christmas giveaway is an entire Christmas meal for that family. And whichever kids come, they actually get 2 free toys. And so we have this huge outreach, and outreach is one of our not just like our core values, but what we truly believe that we're called here to do. And that's why we say we're a community with a purpose. And so some of the things that we're doing is really investing in like small groups. We believe that life change happens within the context of small groups and in relationships. And so, how do you do that? And how do you get connected to the church? Through small groups. We have ministries that are geared for specific areas of life. We have our recovery program. Our recovery program is right now seeing about 300 to 400 individuals every week. And that I mean, that's a great thing that people are taking their steps in living their best life with God. Our young adults, we just finished our young adults conference, and that's something that we really believe in. Our leadership team definitely believes that the next generation is where that's the future church. We just finished our culture conference. The Bible says, "Do not neglect the gathering of the saints," and so we just finished that one. We just finished our men's conference literally last week, and then I'm now planning the marriage conference this year. And so it's a matter of not just doing the small things, but I'm not just doing about not just doing the big things. It's about doing the small things right. I truly believe that small steps lead to small wins that eventually lead us to big victories. And so it's just taking it step by step and making sure that in every step that we take, we're doing it with excellence. And so, yeah, that's. I hope that answers your question, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. Just wrote it down. I'm circling that. Step by step with excellence. That is the way to go. And I want to pull on that thread there. It's great to hear that you there's a lot on your docket. Just planning the marriage conference. You just had the men's conference and the next gen conference. So what tips do you have for other churches that want to put on events and conferences and stuff to make sure they are as successful and engaging as possible?
Sure. So I would say I would start off with this. Um, Always meet with your leadership team. Number one, what is
Mm.
what is it that your team is looking to do? What is the vision of your conference? Number one, if you're doing any type of event, always look at your senior leadership and ask them, what is it that you see? What is it that you see this conference looking like? What are
Mm,
the end results? Like, what do you want people to take away from this? I would say that's probably number one. And obviously pray about it, right? Pray about where you see God taking your ministry, whatever it is. That I would probably say that. And then number two is that I think that a lot of times smaller churches or even churches in general, they're always looking at everybody else and seeing what everybody else is doing. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. I mean, you pull things from here and there.
absolutely.
We do it in the church world. I'm not saying that's bad, but what I am saying is that excellence, I define it as this, is excellence is doing the best you can with what you have. And so
Mm,
what does that excellence look like to you? As a
mm,
church leader, as a ministry leader, what does that look like to you? Do you see your ministry um, do you see your ministry as like the premier event within your church or within your city? Like what does that look like to you? And so in doing that, in wise planning, you'll be able to figure out what your demographic is going to be, what your look is going to look like, what your capacity is going to be, what is it that you want people to take away from from that experience. And like, to give you an example, for us, our men's conference was that our vision was that men would come in and be
mm,
bigger in their faith, better as a man, and bolder in their impact. That's the theme of our conference. But it all comes down to wise planning and doing it with excellence.
mm,
And the last thing I would say, that was point one, two. The last point I would say is, whenever you're doing these types of events, never do it alone.
mm,
Always look and see who's around you and see who God is calling within your ministry. Ask around. Maybe if you don't know, there's a lot of us are not good at talent acquisition, and so
mm,
look for who's around you. Open your eyes, see where people's hearts are. The truth is that people want to help. People want to help everywhere. I mean, to give an example biblically, right? The feeding of the 5,000. I mean, the disciples could not have done it all by themselves. They obviously had to have help. They had to have hidden heroes in there. Why? Because people want to help. So it's just a matter of you looking within your church, within the four walls of your church, and actually asking people to invest within your ministry to accomplish something that's bigger than yourselves. And that is to have a personal encounter with Jesus. And so I would say that those are the top three things that I would say as you're planning your event, whether it's a conference, whether it's a quarterly men's meeting, whether it's a marriage event, whether it's a pop-up, whatever it is, I would say start with those three things.
yeah, awesome. Well, could not agree more. And that's actually a great segue to another a question that came to mind there, Aaron, is like when it comes to recruiting those hidden helpers, the volunteers, the people crucial to our ministry and facilitating those faith transformations, what tips do you have for folks that want to recruit more volunteers, regardless of what area in ministry it's for?
Sure. I think that number one, I think that there's always a huge need for help. I mean,
Mhm.
for like our church, our nursery and childcare areas are always needing help, right? We always need workers. We always need serve team to go in and help that. And it's not just about like pushing it from the stage. It's not just about like putting a flyer out in your lobby and expecting people to just look at that. I think
Mhm.
that, and maybe I don't want to say it's a mistake that the church has made, but I just want to just hear my heart on this. I do think that we cannot neglect the personal connection that you have with people.
Mhm.
People. All of us have a sphere of influence. Some people's are very large. Some people's are very small. But your sphere of influence will allow you and make way for your gift. So I would start number one by who's in your circle.
Mhm.
If everyone in your circle is already serving, is already on staff, I think maybe you should look at maybe expanding a little bit more.
Yeah.
Start hanging out with some of your serve team, investing in them, and then asking them to invest within the church. And then one of our things, right? I started with the conversation with meeting people where they are. And the reality is that when people are serving in church, they might not be able to give you, 4 services on a Sunday morning. Some people might be able to give you 30 minutes. And the truth is that we need to be open as ministry leaders to uh, their availability. Meet them
Mhm.
where they are. If they can only give you 30 minutes, that's okay. But also like reach out to them, talk to them, see how they're doing, call them. One of the mistakes that I think that people within the ministry leadership do is that we expect planning center or fellowship one or whatever system you use, we expect that system to tell us how people are doing. Like that's not checking in on people. That's not
Mhm.
that's not loving people. um like Jesus
Absolutely.
went and had personal encounters with people. He did it on purpose, for a purpose. And so I would say if you're looking for more serve team to invest within your church and invest their time and their effort within your church, whatever facet that may be, um, go in and talk with them, and then cast the vision with them. Talk to them and tell them what the vision of your ministry is, or where you see your ministry going, and see how their gifts, their talents, and their abilities fit into that vision. And I guarantee you, once you start making that personal connection, people will see that. They'll see you as a leader, but they'll also invest in what God is doing within your ministry. So I would say, if you're looking for more serve team, look in your sphere of influence and start investing in those people, because I guarantee you the return on your investment is going to be a 10, maybe even 100-fold. And I hope that answers your question, Chris.
Oh yeah, more than answers it. I really like the idea of, hey, let's start with our personal spheres of influence because that's where, it's maybe 20% of the effort it would be to do stuff like, hey, let's put out a bunch of stuff on social media, a bunch of signs, call out from the stage. Like, no, 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 that's good, and you can do that. But if you start with your sphere of influence, that's where 80% of the results are going to come from, like you said. So yeah, that is awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that, Aaron. And you shared a lot today, so really, really thankful for that. What other advice do you have for ministry leaders?
Sure. I would say never, for ministry leaders. I think that though I'll only add this, and then I'll let you go. What I would say is, once you get into ministry, one thing that I've noticed is that I call it ministry burnout. A lot of times we're so stuck within church that we play this game of church. Like, oh, did you sit in service this week? Uh, yeah, I was working today. No, no, no.
Hmm.
Did you invest in yourself? Are you pouring out into yourself? I truly believe that we are vessels. And so what can a vessel do? What can a cup do? It can either pour out or get poured into. It's literally nothing else. And so you can't you can't minister to people. You can't help people from an empty cup. And
Hmm.
so are you actively investing in yourself? So that's the point that I would make. Are you actively investing in yourself, and are you ensuring to spend enough time with God? A lot of times we play church. Oh, I'm always at work. I'm so busy. I have so many things to do. But um, have you even spent time with God today? Have you taken 5 minutes to just pray and say, thank you, God, for this incredible day. Thank you that your mercy is new for me every day, and that you're making a way where there wasn't a way. I'm believing that blessings are coming and going, that we're blessing the city, blessing the field. You get what I'm saying. Um,
Absolutely.
do you actively invest in yourself? So that's the first question. And then following up with that is, are you making sure that your team, or the team that is under you, is being invested in? It's not just about you, but it's about the team that God has given you. One of the greatest things that I believe that our church is, I would say, known for within our hospitality world is that we tell all of our staff and all of our senior leadership, all even, even some of our leaders within our serve teams, we tell them that the people that are coming to us, God has sent them to us for this reason. And
Mhm.
what we need to understand as ministry leaders is that our serve teams or dream teams, or whatever you call your volunteers, they are on loan to you from God. God sent these individuals to us, and we don't know everybody's story, but because God loaned them to us, like, it is our responsibility as ministry leaders to care for each and every single one of these individuals that are coming into our four walls of our church, or to go back, our sphere of influence. I genuinely believe that your church will grow drastically if you invest in your people. Love God, love people, and meet people where they're at. I would say that that is probably one of the things that I learned pretty early on in ministry. But invest in yourself, and also don't forget that the people that God is sending you, He's sending them to you for a reason. And so they're on loan to you. So take care of them, check in on them, call them, see how they're doing. Love on them, even if that means you go and you take them out for coffee. You just message your team and say, hey, is anyone interested in going to coffee today? It takes nothing, maybe 2 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds, to send a
Right.
quick text message and saying, hey, how are you? Thinking about you today, love you, and appreciate everything that you're doing for our church and for the vision that God has given our church. It literally takes not even 30 seconds. And now, with the amount of technology that we see, right? Like, for example, our phones, send a quick video. It takes 30 seconds to make a video. A voice message. I send voice messages myself because a lot of times people are working. And so what I do is I just send a quick voice message, or I record a little video in my office, and I say, hey, thank you so much for everything that you did this weekend. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for everything that you've done. And I believe that God is investing and repaying you your time 100-fold. We'll see you very soon, and we'll talk to you soon. And that's all it is. And so it's a matter of investing in yourself and investing in people.
Oh yeah, could not agree more. And yeah, like the it takes the same amount of time to, record a personal video as it would to write a text. So yeah, send the video. That is, uh, could not say it better myself. So yeah, really, really appreciate you so much for sharing so much, Aaron. Really excited for everything God's doing at Abundant Church, and excited to be partnered with you, and looking forward to what's ahead.
Absolutely. We're super excited. I can't tell you how excited we are to be partnering with you all. Your team is incredible. The customer service is incredible so far. I love how interactive your systems are, and how easy it is for not just me as an admin, but also our serve teams, because they're the ones that actually use Playlister. And so super excited to be partnering with you. And thank you again for everything that you've done, not just for our church, but for the churches worldwide. Thank you again, Chris.
Yeah, always, always appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate your help in building the best platform for the church possible. So awesome.